Hey everyone, so we're coming to you during a week of incredibly bad weather in the capital, and our hearts and thoughts really do go out to all those people who have been impacted directly or indirectly with what's been going on in the capital. Certainly one of our clients reached out who had just purchased a property from us last year, and her home is now flooded, and so they're having to move out and go through all the insurance processes and so on. So our thoughts are definitely going out to all those people in Wellington who are having a bit of a tough time at the moment. It has really highlighted, I suppose, you know, some of the issues and risks involved in a number of the homes that we deal with every single year, and that we have to sort of become, I suppose, a little bit climatized and comfortable with to a degree as buyers and homeowners.
Yeah, I saw a stat this morning that was from an insurance company who had said that they had been kind of planning to deal with a storm nationwide once every 22 days, so about once every 3 weeks, but it's now once every 8 days is kind of how often there'll be a storm in the country that causes some level of damage. So it is kind of a new normal for us to be dealing with quite extreme weather events quite regularly.
And I suppose sitting in a city like Wellington, where we have coastlines, we have hills, we have forested areas, we have rivers, we have a number of areas that can become a bit problematic when we have these weather events. And there's really not a lot that many homeowners can do about that. You can't do anything about the big bank up behind your house, and you know, if you've got a whole lot of trees up your access path, or
how well maintained the council drains are and all that kind of stuff.
A lot of those things are going to be beyond your control, and that is just the nature of living in Wellington. So in the end, buyers and sellers have to kind of get some level of comfort and get their head around that, because if you ruled out every home that had some kind of risk potential in Wellington, you'd be down to only a few
Very
streets.
few. But what we have been noticing is people are being far more selective and far more careful around certain aspects, like what surrounds the home. Are there big trees that could fall? Are there surrounding banks where there could be landslides? Are there nearby rivers that could overflow? So all those things are being really considered now more than they had been previously. And like Angie said, if your property has any of those kind of natural elements, it's really out of your control. But what it does mean for homes that are up high, so not at risk of tsunamis and flooding, then you are just working with a bigger pool of buyers now, because there are certain buyers who are really tuned in to those kind of natural disaster elements. So yeah, it just means there's a bigger pool of people who are looking for a place like yours.
And potential added value. So, you know, the value of the homes that do have some of those risks associated will be impacted to a degree as well, but some of them will keep transacting, you know, as we largely have. But for homes where they don't have those issues impacting on the property, that will probably come at a greater value, because, as James said, we will be working with more people on those properties, and therefore more likely to have a competitive process at the end. So if you haven't seen a LIM report for your property, or the last time you saw a LIM report was over 5 years ago, it is probably worth ordering a LIM report and just really getting your head around what it is that your property is sitting on and around. Things like the flood overlay maps, they only came in quite recently. So, you know, we have worked with clients that had no idea that they were in a flood zone until we got the LIM when we were coming to the market. So I think having a LIM report and becoming really, I suppose, comfortable and aware of what you are dealing with is far better in advance rather than as you're about to come to the market.
And it can be really difficult as a homeowner to assess your property and what the potential risks can be, because you live there and you may feel very safe with certain elements. But, you know, important in times like these to really take stock of what are the potential risks, what are the potential kind of dangerous points, just being aware of them, if there's anything you can do to, you know, reinforce walls and just make it as safe as possible for yourselves.